Hello everyone. Welcome to, I guess this is my very first episode officially on my podcast. I did do Vlogmas in 2023, in December of 2023, and then you didn't really hear from me until I think it was August or September, where I did a video about some of my fall knits. But I've decided just to kind of jump in a little bit and come to you once a month, just giving a little bit of an update to some of my friends and family, and anyone else who's just, interested in watching on what I'm doing. So my name is Denise, and I'm also known as Dee. And on Instagram, my handle is knitnpurldee with an underscore. On Ravelry, knitnpurldee as well. I'll put the links down below. I live in Canada's nation capital of Ottawa, Ontario. I do consider myself a northern girl. I was born in Timmins, Ontario, lived in 2 other cities in Ontario, and eventually made my way to Ottawa for college. Met my husband, got a nice job, decided to stay. So I've been here ever since. And I have 2 teenage children, 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. So that's always a lot of fun as well. It's great to see them sort of develop into young adults. And they're kind of having some, they're in the moments of some exciting moments in their life right now, which is really fun to see. I also have a puppy. I'm still calling her a puppy even though she's over a year old now. Her name is Lucy. She is a Shih Tzu. We got her just as I guess she was about 9 weeks when we picked her up. And she's been with us ever since last year, November. So it's been a lot of fun. Training was really good overall. Looking back at it, it wasn't terrible. When we were in the thick of it, it felt kind of like a newborn where you don't see the end in sight. But thankfully with puppies, someone once told me that they age very quickly, right? So the baby stage for newborns are, usually about, 6 months or so. You're kind of in the thick of it. And then, these kind of start to, well, probably 4 months, I guess, they start to sit up and eat and do all these different things. But for puppies, I think once they're officially a year old, they're kind of like a teenager equivalent. So, the sleepless nights only really lasted 3 weeks, give or take. So overall, it was very good. So that's a little bit about myself. I do really enjoy knitting. I am learning crochet, working on a blanket right now, and I've done a tote bag as a first crochet pattern. And I also cross-stitched in the past. I've done scrapbooking, touched a little bit on painting, but more sort of painting objects, not really, creating a piece, an art piece for the wall kind of thing. So that's that on me. So I think my podcast, basically, it's going to be very similar to a lot of other podcasts. Hopefully I'm able to bring to you something new. I'm going to be sharing with you any finished objects that I finished in the previous month. Also talking a little bit about my whips, which are work in progress for those who don't know. I'll probably also share with you any acquisitions, although I'm not anticipating on having too many this year. I'm really trying to work through my stash. But I guess looking back at my videos this year, I'll be able to really see what I've purchased. I am keeping a knitting journal, and I'll probably share that with you next month. And so in my knitting journal, I'm also, while knitting and crochet, I'm also keeping track of my purchases coming in. So yardage coming in and yardage going out. I did that last year, and when I share my journal with you next time around, I will go through and also show you sort of what I did last year and how I did. I brought in more than I left, that I actually knit, so overall it wasn't as successful as I thought, but I had a great year. and went to a lot of festivals. And I'll talk a little bit about anything that's happening in the current month, anything exciting happening in the current month. So that's that. All right, finished objects. The month of January did not finish a lot. I have a lot of whips ongoing right now and feeling a bit overwhelmed with all of that. But I do have one finished object to share with you. I have decided to do the Year of Gnomes with Sarah Shira of Imagine Landscapes. So those who don't know, I believe she started last year or maybe the year before. Every month, if you finish one gnome, you can enter your name in for prizes. And if you knit one gnome every month, by the end of the year, you can enter in for, I guess it's like a grand prize. So in the end of the year, I would end up with 12 gnomes. So it is a goal of mine to do that. My gnome, can't really say if I could finish it in a weekend. Maybe I probably could if I really just focused on that. But overall, my gnome took just a little over a week. Worked on the hat. I had to block the hat, then worked on the body and all the other pieces. There was a few nights that I didn't really feel like knitting, so I wasn't working on it every day. So it took just a little over a week. And because when I went to Rhinebeck, I purchased the Gnomes of Grimelwoods book. So I have it here. I'm going to show that for you here. And in this book, I believe there are 10 patterns. So my goal is to use this book and knit a gnome from here every month. And then for the last 2 months, I might do my own sort of creation mismatch based on information from here. I believe as part of the rules, as long as you're using one of her patterns, you can tweak the pattern. So I might do something like that and maybe do a different beard, maybe incorporate a different hat. And I think that's the whole purpose of this book as well. A lot of the little pieces like the nose, the beard, the arms, legs, feet, things like that, you have different options that you can choose from. You can also add tassels and all sorts of different things. So it's a great book so far. I decided not to start from the beginning of the book. Probably that would have made a lot more sense to start from the very first pattern. I think they go from easy to a little bit more complicated, but I kind of dived right into the middle, and I went with a gnome that was named Gnatalia, with a G obviously. So this is my gnome. I used some scrap yarns, which was fantastic. I have back here, I have a Big Blue Mama basket sort of, and in there it's completely full of scrap yarn, leftovers from skeins and whatnot. So I dived into that. I really went pretty close to the pattern colors. I didn't really experiment too much with that, but she does have a little tassel which is made up of all of the colors from the hat. Cute little beard and a nose. The hat had some color work in it here as well, and you actually kind of sew the hat down, so this kind of will stay down permanently. I'm not super happy with the way this folded down, but you know, it's a gnome, and like Sarah says, it's gnominess. Gnominess is something, I can't quite remember the quote now, but it's meant to be a little bit off a little, so I'm happy with it. I actually weighed it down with money. Can't quite hear the money, but there's coins in here, just because I could not find my weighted beads. I had put things away and I'm not sure where I put them. So I just kind of threw some dimes in here and added some fiberfill on the bottom, just so that they don't hit the bottom necessarily, so you don't really hear it. But it weighs it quite well and it sits very nicely, which is great. I think some of the companies, and I can't remember which one it was, but they actually have round discs that you can purchase. And it just kind of helps to sit them a little bit more so that they're not kind of floppy on the desks or tables or wherever you're gonna put them. I have mine all kind of lined up on a buffet. So this is my one finished object. I do have a lot of whips, or whip, which is work in progress. I have 8 on the go. I'm not going to talk about all 8 because my video will go on forever. I am focusing just on 2 for today, which I think are going to be the 2 that I'm going to really focus on in the month of February. The year of, what was it now? So December 2023, I ended that year with no whips on needles. I had everything completed, and I started January 1st with 0 whips, started off scratch, which felt amazing. This December, I don't know what happened. I went through a phase of just wanting to cast on all of the things. And so I did. And so now I do have 8 that I'm currently working on. But I'm focusing on 2 for the month of February. My very first one that I'm focusing on, I think it's going to be the one that's going to get the most traction, is my tan line joggers from Briana Luppino from Little Wolf Knits. I am using, for that one, I am using Louise Rabat collection from Biscotte Yarn store. It's a super sock, 75% merino and 25% nylon. The colorway, I believe this was like a one-time, pretty sure this was a one-time dye lot. I think that's what the lady had told me, but I don't actually see the colorway on here. Anywho, it's sort of like a maroonish purple kind of color. Love it. So I am making joggers. They are jogging pants. I will link the pattern below, and I'll see if I can clip a photo. Right now I'm working, so I started, the pattern kind of starts, this is my mess, but the pattern starts you off just below the waistband, and you do a bunch of increases for hips and whatnot. And then you have a provisional cast on, so you pick up from the provisional cast on and you work your waistband, and it's made with a 1x1 rib. And you're doing that inside and out, and then basically, it's gonna fold over, and so it's gonna have this sort of effect along the waistband into the pants. I still have a lot more inches, I think, to get to before I can split for legs. But I'm very curious, once I split for my legs, how quickly those will go. I think with the pattern, I only needed, I'm making a size 3 if I'm not mistaken. Negative ease is a very important thing. And I believe I only needed about 4 of these skeins if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna see, once these are all done, I will show them for you and give you sort of an overview of what I used, how much yardage it was and whatnot, and the fit. I did start it and tried it on, and my original one was way too big and it was falling off, and Briana really does talk about negative ease and the importance of it. And in my mind, I'm always going too big. So I did do my gauge, but my gauge, as I started to actually knit and it was a bigger circumference, it actually did grow quite a bit, especially after blocking. So I scratched that. I think I only had about 3 or 4 inches done, so I wasn't too far along. Scratched that, started it over, went with the gauge that I had from the previous, and because I was 1 or 2 stitches, I think 2 stitches maybe too many, I ended up, my daughter's making faces at me right now, and this is going in my video, so love it. 16-year-olds, right? Okay, so because I had too few stitches, is that right? I think that's what I had. I ended up going down 2 needle sizes. I haven't measured it yet, but it is looking pretty good, and I did try it on really quickly just over my pants, and it seemed to do well. I'm gonna see with this rib, I think it's going to really kind of snug it around. There's no I-cord, or there's no I-cord or anything that's really like a drawstring for these pants. It's really just this rib sort of waistband. So I'm going to see how that's going to play out. I'm very excited. I cannot wait to wear them. Yeah, I've made a skirt. I was part of test knitters, and hopefully I can show a photo of that as well. I did do a test skirt with Briana. I believe it was the second, I just have this here, the second Ave Skirt, and it was made with Biscotte yarn. It's beautiful, and I went with a really bright pink, which is amazing. So it is my second pattern that I'm working on from Briana, and absolutely loved it and had a great experience with the test knit. So looking forward to potentially doing that in the future again. So that's the first one that I'm going to work on. The second one is one that I casted on with some of my friends. I think we are 6 or 7 of us that are making it. When I went, and when it's in this awesome bag that I got, it is from a company in, I believe it's in Edmonton or Calgary, and they reuse material to make bags. So there's a cable sort of pattern on this one, and then there's that on the back. I did win this through Grocery Girls a few years back. I had entered into one of their prize draws that they did and was actually picked, which was so fantastic. So it was a really nice thing. So I do really enjoy this bag, and it's great for the winter. I find it's just nice and heavy and just like cozy bag. In this bag, I have my Stromboli. So I'm making the Stromboli from Caitlin Hunter. I am using what the pattern calls for, which is the Myak. I was able to pick some up when I went to Rhinebeck this past year, which was so fun. So it is Myak. Kupa is the name of the yarn weight, or the yarn, and it is baby yak with organic cotton. It's a light fingering weight. And the colorway is Lacia. Sorry, I'm probably not saying that properly. But it's kind of like a dark purpley gray color, and it's coming out really well. I have about 3 or 4 pattern repeats so far. I have to do 8, but I'm probably going to do more than that. I'm just going to hold this up. I'm hoping this is going to work out well. Hopefully you can kind of see what that looks like. It's a nice pattern repeat. I'm getting to know it really well now. I still have to kind of take a peek at the pattern every once in a while. And then after that, I'm usually good to go. It kind of makes sense to me now how it works. It's very soft. Very looking forward to this one. So I'm hoping that to have this done definitely for Knit City in May. So that way I can wear it there. And probably going to bring it with me on some of my vacations this year. So again, you can kind of see it here. It's probably going to be better once it's all blocked. The pattern actually calls for 7 to 15 inches positive ease, which I believe is correct. And I ended up going with 9 inches of positive ease. I did do a swatch and block it. I haven't blocked that yet, but I think I might block it before I get too far, just to make sure that my gauge is still correct. And yeah, so that is that pattern, or that project. So those are the 2 that I'm really going to focus on, and obviously my February gnome, which I have not decided yet out of the book which one to make. But she has a really cute, sorry, I'm going back to the gnomes. I just love them. She has this cute little photo of all of them. They're just adorable. So I will decide on what gnome I'll make for February. I think I'm going to try and incorporate some little hearts in the hat or something that just kind of demonstrates that it's, you know, February. I think it'll be fun. So those will be the 3 that I will be working on mostly this month. Acquisitions. Oh, and I would, before jumping to acquisitions, I would love to hear from you on what you're working on. If you've used these yarns before, Myak or, you know, even Biscotte, their Biz Sock, let me know how it went, what project you used it for. If you've made pants, what color did you go with? I looked at some of the other projects for the tan line joggers, and you know, some people went scrappy with theirs and just stripes of like random colors, and it turned out so well. It's always something that I'm a bit worried to do because I feel like my colors may not always match, and I always want things to really flow through. I think I need to let that go and just kind of randomly pick something up and just go with it, but something I'm going to try and work on. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I think that's where that comes from. All right, acquisitions. So like I said, I'm really trying hard not to buy too much this year. I'm really saving a lot of my purchases for when I go to yarn festivals and things like that. But one thing, the first thing I think that I purchased, I ordered this in December, but it just came in this week. And if you haven't received it yet and still want it to be a surprise, definitely look away. Not quite yet, but I'll let you know. Leo and Roxy. So in December, if I'm not mistaken, Jolyn had a post on Instagram and also on their webpage. Her puppy Bella needed some surgery, or needs to go for surgery, and so she was trying to fundraise for that. We all know how expensive our pets can be, especially when it comes to surgery and things like that. It's just unbelievable. And so as part of a way to fundraise, she put together a mystery sock set. It was the colors were based on a photo of her dog. I'll add that here and link it below. That's based on the photo of her dog, so that was her inspiration. Her dog is very much like different types of grays, but there was also other colors in. I think Bella had like if I'm not mistaken, I think she had a bandana on as well. So it came in this week. So now I think if you haven't seen it yet and you do want to keep it a surprise, because I know she's mailing stuff out this past week, now would be the time to look away. But this is what I got. So beautiful dark gray, and it's got some lighter tones in it as well. Variegated, very, very nice. And it is soft base fingering. And these two bright pop of colors, which is awesome. So it also came, oh, I don't have it here, do I? Oh, I do have it. Sorry. 1 second. It also came with a pattern, which I was not expecting. So that was a really nice bonus. And it's called Sweetart Socks. And it's by Pam Graham. And it has a bit of a color work at the cuff. So very, very cool. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make these socks with this. Or if I'm going to use the dark gray. There is right now, I'm part of the 11 Stitches membership, and today Nitty Natty just did a little bit of a tutorial course for brioche, and there is a pattern that we're working on for brioche cowl, so I'm thinking about potentially using, although I don't need another project, we'll see. I am thinking of using these two together for a brioche cowl, which I think would come out really, really nice. And if that's the case, this would be perfect for gnomes. Bah! I quite like this for gnomes. So I haven't quite decided yet if I'll make socks or the brioche cowl, but if I do that, I'm probably going to cast that on, at least get a starting point on it and get comfortable with it. The training or the course that Natalie provided us it's through the membership, and it's always recorded and available, so I could always rewatch it later as it cast on just to make sure. But that's my first acquisition. And the second acquisition that I made, I splurged a little and went with Spincycle. So as you probably have seen, if you know Spincycle Yarn, they partner up with different companies and different dyers or stores and whatnot to come up with colorways specifically for them. Le Garçon has a colorway that just came out not too long ago, and the Grocery Girls has one as well. And so I picked up 2 skeins of, I believe it's the dyed in the wool. It's the sport weight one. I'm pretty sure it's dyed in the wool. Yes. This is what I got. So the photo from the grocery girls that they had on their Instagram and also on their website, you know, with Spincycle, there's such a variety. You never really get exactly what the photo says or looks like. So there's a huge range. And I think even the grocery girls, when they were talking about it, they said that it was a big range of, you know, light pinks to a darker reddish pink, which is sort of what I got. And they did a really good job at matching when they had their order. So I wanted 2 skeins. I think I'm going to make, it's a pattern, I believe, by Caitlin Hunter. The name's escaping me now, but, oh, Alpine Bloom. So I think I'm going to make the Alpine Bloom with this. It's going to be a nice, light, I believe it's sport weight fingering, probably a heavier fingering weight summer top. So I think that's going to be really nice. And again, I might bring this on one of my trips. So I think that's what is going to be planned for this. I just have to find a main color that I want to use, and this would be used for the color work in that top. And it's a short sleeve, so that's going to be great. So yes, I'm very happy with that. I'm happy that they kind of came out looking very similar. If you are ordering with Grocery Girls, they did say that they will do their best to match up as much as they can. And if you have any requests, if you want something that has more light pinks or whatnot, you can always put in a request like that and they can see what they can do. But I'm very happy with what I have. So those are my purchases. And lastly, so I think now I just really want to take a few moments, just talk a little bit about my month of February. I don't have any really big plans this month. I think my husband and I might go away for a weekend, just to kind of get away a little bit and spend some time together. This month, we are getting together. I'm getting together with some of my friends where we are doing sort of a Valentine's Day. It won't be on the 14th. I think it'll be that weekend, but just sort of a crafting afternoon. We'll get together and do some knitting or crochet or whatnot. So that's going to be really great. And I believe that's the day that tickets go on sale for Knit City. And so Knit City is an event that happens every other year. It's in Montreal in the month of May, and the opposite year it's in Toronto in the month of May. And then there's also, they do Calgary and Vancouver, and I believe that's closer towards August. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's August or September. And so this year it's going to be in Montreal. And so that's only an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So I am planning on going to Knit City. So I'm going to looking at maybe doing a workshop and going up with my daughter, which is fantastic. She's a crocheter, so it's going to be great. I think it'll be her first yarn festival, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, so we're going to book our tickets, I think, for that and sort of finalize our plans for that weekend. And I believe that's really it for the month of February. I'm just going to really work through my pants and try and get them going. One of my other whips is a hoodie, and it incorporates stripes, and I'm going with like a dark gray color. So once my pants are done, I'm going to take the leftovers from my pants and incorporate that color into the stripe. So actually I have sort of a full outfit that I can wear. Most likely I will be bringing those to Rhinebeck when I do go to Rhinebeck in the fall. So I guess that's about it. So this is my first episode, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't ramble too much. If you have any comments or questions, or if there's anything that you'd like for me to chat about, just let me know in the comment box. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to get notifications moving forward. And like I said, I'm going to try and have podcasts sort of posted once a month towards the end of the month or early the following month. And just kind of talk about what I did. I might have some odd here and then, you know, just sort of unplanned videos as well if I have things that I want to share. Oh, one last thing. I didn't talk about my sweater. This is my favorite adventure. And it is actually with Leo and Roxy. It was an advent that I got from them in December of 2023. And it holds a main color. So my main color is a light gray, and then striping in the different 24, I believe it was, different colors throughout. But on the sleeve, your main color is your advent, and your slip stitching your gray. And so it has a bit of a darker effect on the sleeves than it does here. Very good pattern. I really recommend it. And it's extremely size inclusive. And Ashley, from the smallest size to the largest size, she has everything calculated for how many grams you need of each color. And so even with the largest size, you have enough with an advent. So yeah, it's really well done. And very easy to follow as well. I highly recommend this pattern. I'm probably going to make another one. Not sure if I'm going to do like an advent. I might just use some scraps, sort of kind of like the Woolen Pine. They have something similar with a slip stitch, or you knit one with scrappy yarn. The name's escaping me, of course, because you know it's that time of day. But anywho, that's that. So thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry for my daughter interrupting and making me kind of lose my spot, but that's what happens when you have teenagers in the house. And enjoy your week ahead. I hope everyone's having decent weather right now, and we will touch base later this month. Thank you so much. Bye.